people have and are still being oppressed in all aspects of our society. Being inclusive can no longer be a trend that eventually reverts to the status quo. Over the years, we've seen the bare minimum from brands in their products, their marketing, their production teams, and their corporate structures. In today's episode, I'm so excited to welcome Raisa Flowers. She looks like a musician, but she's actually a makeup artist. Raisa has worked backstage Fashion Week for several seasons assisting Pat McGrath, and her work has graced countless editorials and campaigns. She pushes the envelope with her creativity, using color, texture, and shapes to create the most beautiful looks. You can find her work on the faces of celebrities like Kelela, Junglepussy, and Zendaya. In addition to her fire makeup looks that is reminiscent of her club kid days, Raisa is also quite outspoken on racism and the lack of representation in the industry, not only when it comes to makeup, but also her experience as a model. We talk with Raisa today to chat about her experiences and why Black squares and performative allyship in 2020 and beyond is just not it. Raisa, welcome to the show.
Hey girl, thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be on the show. I know it's not, the right format we wanted to be in. We wanted to be in the studio doing
I
all this thing.
know.
But from home is fab. It's fab. We could chill in our relaxation looks
I know.
and and just be chill.
I I'm happy we made it happen though. Like I definitely I just believe that things happen when it's supposed to. So
Right. That's true. That's true
right.
though.
So do you want to tell the story about how we met? Because I always like to start the episodes off like that because those are memories that are really special to me. And it was random because usually when you meet makeup artists, it's always like at an event or like at the makeup show or backstage. Or I feel like how we met was like super funny.
It was it was so
You don't have to tell the whole story for sure.
no, but I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna tell it quick. So basically, I met Julissa in Mexico. We were in New Mexico on a Nike shoot for FKA Twigs. It was a Nike campaign that was supposed to come out. She was assisting Kabuki, and we seen each other like around. She was helping out, so she was just around. She's tiny, so she just bouncing around doing stuff, and I'm like, oh. This girl, because when you meet people that you're familiar with, like especially if they're Black and they're in a certain space, it
Right.
makes you feel comfortable in this way. So I seen her and I'm like, okay, hey girl. And when we connected, we clicked. And I remember we had so much fun during that trip, and it was really, really nice. I was there modeling. I was in the campaign. So I was just, getting my makeup done and stuff like that by Kabuki, and Julissa was helping. So it was a cute experience. And then one night we went out, and then after we like chilled in my hotel room, and she's like, I gotta wash my makeup brushes. And I had brush cleaner because I had brought my brushes and my makeup, because you never know what you expect when you go down to a shoot or something with someone you don't know yet. So, or a space where you're not familiar. So I was like, I got brush cleaner, and I gave it to her like a little brush, and she washed her brushes. And from that time I've known her, and that's been since 2017, and it's been a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, and
that's
that was the
crazy.
night after the party, right? Because
Yeah, that
I
was
want to have fun, but I was like, I gotta clean this brush.
brushes. And we was up late. We was up, that was like 4 a.m. in Mexico.
Oh
That
my
was
god,
late.
we had so much fun. Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah, we did have so much fun. That was such a good experience. And then after that, I started seeing you more and more backstage, and we seen each other a few other places. Then
Right,
we started just connecting after that.
right,
It
right.
was cute.
I love that. It's a good story to tell. Um,
Right.
um,
So random.
I know, so because I feel like that day. Remember the scene with the stairs? I remember that day. Kind of locked eyes, eyes. And I was like, girl. And you were like, girl.
And we started talking about stuff.
Immediately, it was
Yo,
just
the
like,
scenes, that stairs scene had me taken
oh my
out.
God. Oh,
And then y'all will have to run up the stairs and tap our foreheads with the thing. Oh gosh,
yo,
girl.
I
I
definitely
was
got some muscles on that
tired.
shoot. Right. So
But
tell
that was
us
a good
more.
time.
It was. So tell us more about the story about like the journey, your journey into makeup. Like, did your upbringing have any part to play in it?
My journey into makeup and then my upbringing.
Yes.
Yeah, it did. Well, because my mom is super into makeup. She's Bajan, so she's just like fab, the Caribbean queens. So it's just like she always like got me into makeup. Like she would be into it and I would like kind of like go to the Mac with her and go to the stores and I'll see like how much she loved it. She used to have a lot of makeup everywhere. My mom's just like a makeup consumer. Like she buys makeup and she actually uses it and wears it and has a bunch of it. And I feel like she's been into beauty for a while, whether it's her hair, her makeup, her style, her nails. She's just a beauty person. So I think I really mirrored that as a young child and I seen that and I was like, damn, I love that. I love that my mom is funky. She wears she used to wear contacts. She doesn't as much as now. I'm trying to get her back into it. But
Right.
she was a style queen. Like she just had a certain type of style and aesthetic. And I feel like me seeing that made me so into that kind of style and aesthetic that I kind of grown into it. And when I was a teenager and I got a job, I started going to the Mac counter and buying stuff and just, just spending my money on things that I liked and things that I seen and things that I wanted to be a part of. I always did makeup like really young. I started at like 12 or 13, but I wasn't really interested in it until I got older and people were like, "Oh, you're talented. You're very talented at this. Maybe you should become a makeup artist." And I was like, "No, I just do it for fun for a long time." And then I really got into it after that.
Right. So now that, you're in doing makeup, you're a professional makeup artist, you actually model as well, which I love because you're not boxing yourself into one thing. Now, I've had the honor of doing your makeup like what? I think like 3 or 4 times, Gypsy Sport, and then the both Fenty shows I did your makeup, no? Did I?
No, you did my one for the one that I opened, and then you did me for Gypsy Sport.
Or Gypsy Sport, right. So
Yeah.
how did your modeling career come about?
Well, my modeling career came about when basically this guy had asked me he wanted to take photos of me. This photographer named Marlon, like maybe in 2014, he asked, and I was really camera shy. I wasn't into it. I was like kind of awkward. I was like, I don't know if I really like that because I wasn't really as comfortable in myself as I am now. So
Mhm.
it really kind of just made me like kind of anti towards it for a second. And then not until like I got shot by, he's like a really famous photographer now, currently, Ethan
Mhm.
James Green.
Mhm.
Before he became big,
Right.
he was shooting one of my friends, Elise, and he was shooting her and then he was like, "Can I take some photos of you, please?" And I was like, kind of awkward about it. And then
Right.
he was like, he took the photos and he taught me how to like be in front of the camera and stuff like that. And it's interesting because I'm gonna be doing a shoot with him this weekend. Is really big, but I'm not gonna tell anybody what it is yet. You'll see
Mm.
it.
Ooh.
But I'm doing a shoot with him and I'm obviously getting shot, but he's really good. And like after that time I think I got more comfortable with modeling. And
Right.
then like a lot of like over the years brands and stuff started hitting me up. I was in two Mac campaigns. I've been in, the Savage Fenty campaigns, the shows,
Right.
Gypsy Sport, all the ASOS, all these different things. And it was because of my Instagram and people started to like, get into my look. At
Right.
first I was just very like I don't know. But then like a lot of people said it, said that it inspired them. So
Right.
I really got into that, and I really understood that, and I enjoyed that whole moment, because you know, a lot of people don't get to have those experiences. So
Right.
I I I really appreciate them.
I love that. Now, for those who are listening, there are so many things that I want to ask Raisa when it comes to both makeup and modeling, but I want to keep this episode as concise as possible. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, you might want to do so because Raisa will definitely be back on the show very soon. So now, as protests broke out worldwide, beauty brands are being called out for their lack of diversity. We're going to be touching on ways the industry has continuously failed Black people. We have a lot to talk about, Raisa. Let's start with the disparity with rates and the lack of transparency.
So basically, I feel like, or what I've seen and what I've had to deal with, is that a lot of times, with rates, I feel like Black people or Black artists a lot of the times get lowballed when it comes to rates. And it's because people feel like, you know, when you're a Black person in the industry, they don't know, they feel like they don't know who you are, or who you know, or if you know your worth, in a sense. So a lot of the times you'll get a job, and then they'll give you a rate, and then you find out that maybe a white artist, you know, or another artist, you know, that is not Black, did a job like this, but they got paid more. And
Right.
you want to ask yourself why all the time. And it becomes like a confused situation, because you're like, wait, this is the same job. How come I'm getting this low of a rate, but other people are not? And it happens a lot to Black artists, I've heard, because people will be like, damn, I've only got paid this X, Y, and Z, and this person got 2 times more than me.
Right.
And I feel like people don't realize that's the case, and they're doing it to a lot of Black artists because they feel like, oh, I don't know them, or you know, they'll just, you know, they'll just do it because they want that
Grateful.
exposure and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, but it's just like, no, we don't need that exposure. A lot of us have worked in higher spaces. A lot of us have worked really hard to get where we are. And a lot of us are very talented. So it's just like, you know, give us what we deserve, and we deserve to have those higher rates. And that's why a lot of times I don't have an agent, but I do go back and forth with people about my rate, because I feel like in other circumstances, if I wasn't Black, I would be getting paid more. And that's just how I feel. And it's just how a lot of Black people feel. And I don't understand why people don't realize that, or they think that we're just being dramatic, but it's a reality we live in.
And also when it comes to transparency, I feel as though like you said, sometimes you find out that somebody else got a better rate, but sometimes you didn't even know, like you took a rate and you were like, okay, this is not bad, all right, whatever, and then you find out that somebody else got paid twice, three times the amount. So it's not even a matter of only like knowing that somebody is getting more, but sometimes not knowing at all. And there
Right.
definitely needs to have some type of more transparency in the industry so people can be paid fairly.
Right. Exactly. And that's the whole thing, because if you don't find out, cuz a lot of the times people be like, "Oh, don't say that, you know, just don't ask people about their rates." Like I remember my old agent will be like, "Why are you talking about money with other people?" And I'm just like, "No, I want to know these things, because if I'm put in a situation, I want to know what this person is getting, so that I know that I'm not balling myself, or you know, we're not getting paid different rates, or you know, there's nothing misunderstood about it. I want to be able to be comfortable with asking someone, and you know, you don't go up to anyone and ask them. You
Right.
know, it's usually amongst your friends or someone who understands. Or if someone asks me like, "Oh yeah, how much did you charge for that?" Da, 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 you're gonna answer because you feel like, yeah, I understand what you're going through. This is how it be. This is how this person is gonna be, or they're gonna try to lowball you. You wanna know that, and sometimes you have to have your other artists back, especially the Black ones.
Right. Right.
we gotta have each other's
Back.
back in this way, because it's just like, who else is gonna have our backs, to be honest? Because the industry is so cutthroat, and a lot of people do a lot of backstabbing. It's just like, nah,
Right.
we need to unify and be together. And I know that it gets hard because they try to make us compete and stuff, but
Right.
it's just like, nah, realistically, we're on the same team because look, we're black people. And
Right. Exactly. It's like there's the thing is that there's this sort of uh belief that there's not enough to go around, but it's just like we're all still working, right? Like it's
right,
fine.
exactly. There's more than enough.
Right.
They got millions of dollars for us.
So as agencies want to put more black faces on their Instagram to seem inclusive, and also brands. But the bigger question is, what does their roster look like? How many agency represented artists are black? Now, I don't feel like this has ever been discussed publicly, because when you look at a lot of makeup agencies, makeup, hairstyling, like the black artists are few and far in between. And then also, how many agents are black? And I think that's the big question here. And I'm not sure if it's been discussed, but I definitely want to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, every time I go on a roster, I always look through every artist, and I'll go on their Instagram too. Or or if some agency asks me like, oh, like they're interested in me, I go to their page, and the first things I look for is how many black artists they represent, if the agents are black, and what's their talent all together on a scale on their page.
Right.
And a lot of people, I feel like a lot of black people do not have agents. I don't have an agents for personal reasons because I want a black agent first of all, or someone who's going to get what I'm doing and really put forth the work and the time that I need and the things that I need that I can't do for myself, but I could do a majority of those things myself. So they have to fit into that box. That's why I
Right.
don't have an agent. That's the only problem I have personally. But I feel like a lot of the times I go on these agencies and it's very few black artists signed, whether it's makeup or hair or photographer. It's like one to two people. And I know these people are out there because I work with some of them. And
Right.
I don't know if it's we have to prove more or we have to be doing high level stuff for them to like take our work seriously. But a lot of the times I'm just confused that a lot of black artists are not signed and they don't have agency representation. Or if they do, it's a very small agency and then the agency doesn't have that, like, I don't feel like they have that performance vibe to
Right.
get them the things that they need, because
Right.
people got to realize if you sign to agency and you're a really good artist, they need to be really great as well. You know what I'm saying? They have to be able to push for you. They have to be able to get you the jobs that you're worth, the rates that you worth. It has to be all leveled out on a playing field. And I think some people just see like, oh, sign to agency, sign that contract and go, but no, people need to realize and really put their foot down and understand what's going on. Like once you get signed to an agency, that agent gets a cut out of your pay.
Right.
So they need to be working to the levels that you need them. And I feel like if black people need to be on these rosters, they need to have, and they're really good, they need to have high level agents as well, and
Right.
agents that understand what they're going through. Obviously, if they're not black, they don't understand, the things that we go through as black people, but they should be able to, fight for you in
Right.
any spaces that you are or any spaces that they want you to be in.
Right. Do you know a lot of agents that are black? I feel like I only know of one. I mean, obviously I'm not fully behind the scenes, but I don't know a lot.
I only know, I don't really think I know any agents that are black that have talent. I don't think I know an agent that is black that is a modeling agent.
Oh, right. Yes,
And
it's a
yeah,
modeling agent I'm
Ethan.
thinking of. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Ethan's a modeling agent and he's really great and he stands for his black clients
Right.
really firmly.
Yeah.
And that's why I appreciate him. He's Kelela's agent as well, modeling agent, and Naomi and a whole bunch of different girls, Precious. So
Right.
he goes hard for the black talent, and he does have some white talent as well. And she's a very strong white model. Karen Elson.
Right.
She's top, top, top. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So he's the high level I want to achieve in an agent,
Right.
because that's who's going to protect me and
Exactly.
have my back through every situation. But there's not a lot of agents like that, so it's really hard.
Right. Now, we've spoken about this privately before, but there are many times where, we get on set and there is just this feeling like we don't belong in the room. And in my one of my past episodes, A Seat at the Table, a conversation with Black women in beauty, Alana actually spoke about that. Alana Wright, sorry, she would get on set, nobody would say good morning, and it's just like the producer wouldn't say anything, and it's like, you booked, she's like, you booked me, you know what I mean? And not even like the that weird tension on set is there's also a difference when we have to prepare our kits and our references. It's almost like there's a difference where we have to like prove our worthiness. And I would love to like hear more of like what your feeling is on this.
Okay, so yeah, I do get that a few times. I don't get it as much, but I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by me and when I step on set, because I'm tall, I'm black, I'm a woman, and they might feel like I feel like there's an intimidation vibe, especially coming from my side. Like I feel like a lot of the times they feel like you might not know what you're doing in a sense, or they're not comfortable with you having such power in yourself and your work, that
Mhm.
they don't understand that at times. And they sometimes feel like I feel like a lot of the times I have good experience, but there's times here where, I feel like some people just don't get it or don't get me as a black artist, and they kind of disregard me in a sense.
Right.
Or, they overstep in a way that it's just like, if this was a white person, you would not be doing this.
Right.
Or you would not be talking to them like this or
Right.
telling them certain things. And I've never been in situations where I felt tremendously irritated. Maybe one time, and I spoke to that person afterwards. I just was like, a few months after I addressed it, and I was just like, when we were on another set, I was just like, I didn't like how everything was functioning. But there's times where I feel like they don't feel like you're worthy. Like I had a shoot and I was just like, damn, one time, and they just, I don't know, they just had this vibe to it. Like they were just kept questioning me on stuff. And I was just like, bruh, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, you obviously
Calm
hired me.
down. Right.
Yeah, like you obviously hired me because you love my work and you love what I do. So let me do what I do. If you don't like something or you feel like I should change something, lightly tell me to do it. And
Right.
I'll, by all means, I'll do it. I have no problem with doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't need to argue with no one about the work, because I could change anything.
Right. Yeah. And then this goes into us being even more prepared, like having every foundation. Whereas some makeup artists, they get to rub moisturizer and say, well, this is perfect. Your skin is perfect. And in many times, the model needs even a little bit of foundation. I remember one time my friend was telling me, like, we were in Paris for Fashion Week, and one of her friends was telling her, like, she didn't bring any of her dark foundation. So if she can, like, borrow some. And I'm like, you travel all the way from the US to Paris for Fashion Week without any dark foundations. And that's the
Right.
thing, like, you could do that. I can't do that. I got to be prepared for any skin tone, like the darkest to the lightest, because I don't know who I'm going to get
Right.
backstage.
That's the truth though. I actually had a situation where they sent me the casting board and it was all black people, right?
Hmm.
And when, girl, I get there and I'm like, "Oh, I see this white girl there." And I'm like, "Wait, hold up." I was like, "Nah. No, 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 no." I was so embarrassed because, when you see a casting board and it's all black people and they sent you all the people, you check them out, you looked mad time. I ran back to the email and I was like, yo, wait, hold on. Am I bugging out right now? And come to find out, they added her on last minute. And
Uh-huh.
from that time, I make sure, like, now I barely believe what people say when they say, like, they have all these talents. I try to pack a little. If I know, if it's all black girls, even if I know it's all black girls, I want to have something in case I have like a fair skinned person just thrown into the casting
Right.
anywhere,
Right.
out of nowhere, and be prepared for that job per se. I spoke to the person because I knew the person doing the PA work, and I was just like, why is this mistake didn't get, told to me early this morning? At least I
Right.
would have packed what I needed and
Right.
not been embarrassed and felt some type of way. Because
Right.
then that girl felt left out. Even though worked with what I had some stuff because I
Right.
had palettes and stuff like that. I still felt some type of way because
Right.
I didn't have all the things I needed for her. And I ended up getting paid extra money that day because of the inconvenience.
Right. And I'm happy you told that story because the way that she felt is how a lot of black models feel. And it wasn't that you were willingly ignorant. You thought you were preparing for a particular job. Whereas some people are just like, it's like, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna pack my kid and be on my merry way.
Yeah,
But you
exactly.
were you were misinformed, so it's, I mean, I'm happy that that worked out, but I just, I just want everybody to be prepared. Like, we sit with these models all the time and they tell us these stories and I'm like, no, you're not serious. Like, girl, I had to go wipe my makeup off in the bathroom, or she didn't have my foundation and I walk with my stuff. Like, it's so normalized for black people to walk around with their foundation because they're just not accustomed to being matched properly. And it's like, can we stop that?
Right.
2020, like, there's so many foundations on the
Right.
market. Like, if you don't want to spend money, go to the drugstore and pick up three foundations for $10 each. You know what I mean?
Right. It's the truth. It's the truth. And and like you said, there's so many girls come up to us and they just be like, "Oh yeah, I had this experience. Oh, I don't like this person doing my makeup because they don't know how to do black skin. Oh, they make me look too light. Oh, they never do." And then one thing is they never do foundation on some of the darker skinned girls because they feel like their skin looks good. You think I want to come to a shoot, right? And I'm thinking I'm getting glam. All the white girls, everybody else is getting glam. And then they put moisturizer on me and just say, go as you are. You know how
So
offended I would be?
I can't. And then I was talking about this. I did a YouTube video called "How to Do Makeup on Dark Skin," and I addressed, like, that tension where it's like the other makeup artists, whether they're white or whatever, they want to do the like black models, and sometimes the black models want to come to us, and it's not necessarily always our choice. It's like they want to come to us because they've had bad experiences and they find some type of comfort coming to us. Just like, no,
Yeah.
girl, like, I know you're gonna color correct me around my mouth because it's dark, and when this person doesn't, I'm like, I'm gonna be looking a mess. So they want to feel comfortable too. And at the end of the day, like, I don't get offended if, because I'm sure this has happened to you. Like, I've had Asian models be like, they don't want me to do their makeup and they want to go by their friend, and I'm just like, go by your friend. Like, I don't mind, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Right.
care. Like, that happens to us all the time too. So it's like,
Right.
but it's not discussed. It's like, oh well, you just want to do all the black models. No, the black models want us to
No,
do
come
them.
right, and yeah, and I had the same thing with the Asian models. They feel like they want to go to the person they feel comfortable with, that they know will make them look a certain way. I know how to do Asian skin because it's just like we work on backstage on Pat's team, so you have to learn to do everyone. But
Right.
you know how many times, like, I try to, like, I've been on shoots where I've done like Asian girls, and they'll tell me step by step how they want their makeup done and how they wear their makeup, and
Right.
I have to make them feel comfortable. And
Right.
some of those things, they sometimes don't trust us enough,
Right.
and they just make us feel like, oh, we don't know how to do makeup. But it's like, yeah, we learned,
Right.
and we know what we're doing. So I try my best to make people feel comfortable in those situations, because it
Exactly.
does happen to black women 90% of the time. And
Right.
that's a high amount. People say, oh, maybe not. No, like try to make excuses. No, it happens.
Right.
And I know a lot of makeup artists don't have any shade darker than both of our complexions, or maybe a little lighter. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And brands, like you said, have expanded so much, and there's so many different options. I don't want to hear it now.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
so many different options now that you literally can get any type of foundation you want
Right.
and have it there. And I don't understand why people don't
Yeah.
realize that.
I mean, I also think this might sound bad, but I also think some models can be really annoying with it. Like it's our job to like be accommodating, make sure they're comfortable, like, but sometimes in the rush of things, I've seen it happen backstage. You're like, no girl, like relax, like she can do your makeup, whether it's, black on white, Asian on whatever. It's like, all right, no, sit in the chair, so
Right.
there's a certain level to it, but we'll make you feel comfortable. But sometimes it's like you just came in from a show 5 minutes ago and the walkthroughs in 5 minutes. So we gonna get this done.
Right. Exactly. I've seen that happen too, and I felt that vibe as well. And I had to ensure people, like, I had to do that one time, like just be like, yo, I know how to do black girls. Like it was like an artist. She's very popular. I won't name her, but I was on a big shoot, and she came makeup ready, and I was just like, damn. Like, she said she's been in situations where her makeup didn't look good, and I was just like, girl, I next time I want you to go to my Instagram, look at all the black women I have on there, and see that you're in good hands. And
Right.
I wouldn't make you feel uncomfortable. And I understood, because the experience, and I just pulled to the side. She probably thought I was being rude or being too extra, but I was just like, nah, I know what I'm doing, and I'll make sure you look good.
Right. And then let's talk about using our work on mood boards, but not actually hiring us for the job. Like, what's really good? I
Yo.
can't. I can't. I know you've experienced this before. And I just think that sometimes, they want the aesthetic, but they don't want us. You know what I mean?
Right.
In many, not even just in the makeup, in the beauty community, or the makeup industry, but how, like, what do you like, how do you feel about that?
Well, for me, I feel like that's happened to me many times. I know it because people I could not see the screenshots, but people send your photos around the internet.
Right.
And a lot of times I see some people I know's work on the mood board. One time I seen one of my friends, they used almost all his photos, and I denied the job because I was like, if you want this person, hire them. And the people never hit me back up because they were just like, wow, she really wasn't playing. I'm like, you want this aesthetic? Hire that person. I'm not going to copy my friend's aesthetic to make you feel good. Are you crazy?
Right.
Like, and like, sometimes they'll pull an image here and there, because also remember, there's not a lot of black representation on photos on the internet that you can find to reference.
Right.
So a lot of times people go to our Instagram and stuff, and it's just like, why didn't you just hire us if you wanted our work? Like,
Right.
and I've heard many people that I know put me in decks all the time. I'm in decks like crazy.
Right.
So I know my name is all over the place because people tell me, and they out themselves when they be like, oh, I love your work. You don't follow me. You don't say that. And now it's not about that, because I don't care about those things. You don't say nothing. You haven't hired me yet, but you know who I am.
And you love my work.
And you love my work. So that means you've been watching me, and you don't have it in you to just hire me and get me on those jobs. And I've noticed it happen many times. So I'm now so specific of certain things. And like a lot of the times I send my work back to be on the mood board.
Right.
I don't like when people send me mood boards of a whole bunch of different. If you want something specific, I can create something, because I'm open to different aesthetics, and I could try different things, and I'm always evolving in my art. But once you're doing something that's similar to mine, but you're using someone else's image, I'm offended at this
Right.
point. And I try not to take it too personal because I understand people can't find the type of work we do on the internet like that, especially on Black women. It's really hard to search
Right.
Pinterest for Black people in editorial makeup or any type of you only see them in beauty, beat face, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I try to go hard for that. But yeah, that's something that really annoys me, and I feel some type of way about it. And it makes me kind of frustrated, but I don't allow it to get too much in my head because then I'll explode low
Right.
key.
Right. And then like since the everyone, being an ally on Instagram, an ally on Instagram, a lot of brands have been reaching out to add more Black artists on their PR list. Now, you had like a particular situation. Obviously, we're not calling names, but it's crazy that I just am like, wait, you guys are now scrambling to try and include Black artists. Your products, some of the brands at least, like they have a good shade range, so you have the shade range, but you just wasn't thinking about us at all. What is your like experience in that, or what have you noticed when it comes to brands trying to add us to PR to like oh no,
Girl.
we like Black artists.
Girl, I feel like we were saying earlier, we gotta prove ourselves so much. I had asked the brand to send me stuff, and I will not name the brand,
Of
to
course,
send me stuff
commentary,
for a bunch of brands. I've asked to send me stuff for photo shoots. And
right,
it's just like either I get ghosted after we have a conversation, they want to see links, they want to see this, they want to see that. And it's just like, okay, you want to see all these things, but I bet you if it was someone else that you think you knew on Instagram, you would just send it to them quickly without no doubt.
right,
And it really irritates me to the point because I'm still buying a lot of my makeup products.
right,
If people don't realize that I'm investing that money that I'm making back into my kit, because I want to pull up with the $70 foundations. I want to have the things, you know what I'm saying, the quality. And I go off and I test a lot of my makeup, and like if like I do a shoot and I didn't really like how the foundation looked, or I've seen something or something, I want to try something else. So I'm always doing that constantly and trying new things. So it's like kind of upsets me completely. And I feel like it's a kick in the ass in a way, because it's just like, yo, I'm here buying your product, but and I'm promoting it and I'm telling people about it. Word of mouth is the one of the best things, because if someone told you about a product and you end up loving it, you're gonna tell so many people about it.
that's what we
So
do too. We're like, yo, I want to buy this. You're like, all right, I'm about to buy it. No, no, no. It's a
exactly, like
trusted like opinion.
right. Even like how you told me about the lip service lip balm. Girl, I've went through so many of them.
Oh my
And
god.
I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. You've told me about products and I bought it and I've loved them and I've kept them in my kit and I have them. And that's important. I understand brands need to understand that whole thing, because we work hard. We're promoting you. We're going in, but
Right,
you're giving it to Instagram influencers who don't really know how to do makeup like us,
right,
or is not giving the same thing. No shade to them. Some
right.
of them can, some of them can't. You're giving them all hundreds of
The
dollars of
whole
free
line
product.
when they're only going to use two products.
Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? But us, we have to like show you our editorials, show us what we're doing, show you this, show you that. Like, come on now.
I mean, I definitely think there's two minds about it, because sometimes some brands are small and they can't spare it. But it's just like, but when we see you doing it for other artists, and it's just like, it's not like you're doing some dusty shoot. Like you're doing like celebrities, you're doing Mary Claire, you're doing Days, like how it's like we get to that point and we're like, okay, I've gotten here, I have the editorials, and then it's still not enough.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's frustrating. It makes you irritated and stressed, and it makes you want to just, just spaz out low key. I mean, it makes you be over it in this way. And I don't ever want to be like, oh, I hate makeup. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I just get frustrated at things like that because I work hard and I go hard for everything that I do. And every shoot that I do, I try my best to just go in
Right.
for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't hold nothing back because
Right.
I want people to see my talents and see what I'm doing, especially being that I'm a black artist at the end of the day. And I really want to prove to people that I can do this.
Right. Okay, so now I want to know, what are some of your favorite brands or products that have always been inclusive in their shade range?
Oh, damn.
I know so many.
That's hard. I mean, to be honest, for years, I had wanted the AJ Crimson foundation. I own it now, the darker palette, but that was one that was like, it's not a wide range, but it's enough for the dark skinned girls,
Mm-hmm.
especially since they have one of the darkest dark colors.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Yes.
has like a whole collection of like really good, creamy, darker colors. That's one. I feel like. I feel like the William Tuttle Foundation, that one's
Right.
also one that they've had that for like a long time because obviously William Tuttle is like old. He passed away years, years, years. That's a really good one. Well, who had oh, there was other brands, but some of them are a little off. MAC, of course, had a shade range for years, but I don't personally use their other foundations except Face and Body because
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people have allergens to them. So I
Right.
try to not put it into my kit. But
Right.
they're also a good one. And, they have a good range. And I was using them for years, for a long time. And also Makeup Forever, but I was feeling like some of the tones were off a bit.
Right.
But they've had a large range of colors for years. Like
Right.
people could go in there and get a color. But I hope they fix their formulation because some of their stuff is good. Like I like their stuff.
Right.
And also, yeah, those are the few ones that from before. The ones that I like now, I really like the Pat McGrath Foundation now. She
Mm-hmm.
came out with that recently, a year ago now,
Right.
possibly. Yeah, that one is really good. I love the consistency and
Have you tried
how
the
it feels.
concealer?
The concealer is really good.
Oh, I haven't tried it yet, man. Oh my God.
It's really good. It's really good. I say that's a really good one.
What would you compare it
Fenty,
to?
kept like Kevin Aquan,
Oh,
but better.
okay.
But better. It's a little lighter. Like it just has that like kind of like thing to it.
Right. And then you mentioned Fenty.
Yeah, Fenty is good. Fenty has a good range. Some people said they're allergic to it, but when I had my experience of using it on myself, it was really nice. But I feel like it is for who can handle it. But it does have a large range,
Right. Well,
and
the
I
hydration
really
formula
like
is
it.
nice. I used that on you at the show and it looked fire.
Yeah, it looked good on me, and
Yeah.
also NARS.
Yes.
NARS is a really good one, and I like their. Recently, I like did a light coverage of like Glossier. I
Mm-hmm.
love Glossier
Oh, yeah.
skin
And
tint. That's
their
like my
skin tint goes really dark too.
yeah. Their skin tint is off the chain. First off, I use Glossier, and then I put some NARS on top of it, and it looks so good. And a lot of people gotta know it's about application, to be
Right.
honest, as well with the makeup.
Right.
But those are like some of my favorite foundations that I really really love.
I'm a stan for the NARS concealer, but I do think, like, when you think about the range, I feel like they can add one more like really dark shade, because I feel
Yeah.
deep ones still are very red, and I feel like there needs to be like a neutral dark shade somewhere, like
Yes,
blush.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love the NARS concealers. Those are one of my go-to, honestly, as well. They're really up on the
Right.
top of the line for me.
So, how do you think the industry can truly move forward and create lasting change?
Ooh, I feel like I feel like they just need to be honest, more diverse with the way they have people in their in their backstage, like their back, not backstage, like behind the scenes. I feel like they need more people, black people in their companies. I need to see more of a progression in that field. Like I just need more black people making choices and making decisions in the backstage because they get it. Because a lot of black people see black people and they know of them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times when I'm on a job, it's some black person that I know told someone about me, or and it's white people too. Obviously, they stand as well. But there's a lot of people, like when it comes to decision making and people like have the real people who understands what we're going through and sees what we see. And it doesn't always have to be up for a debate, because I feel like that's always the problem. Like it'd be like this person versus this person. But it's like they need to go based on talent and stop going based on longevity of a person.
Right.
Like I understand that, and it's really sad because it's just like every time it's like, yeah, the older school makeup artists, yes, they have hierarchy, but to be honest, some of these brands are trying to do certain new things, and not always those older makeup artists can give them that kind of thing that they're looking for. There's people like Pat that can, because her whole thing is modernized, and
Right.
she's came from every dimension of art, and that's why I really appreciate her, because even if you go on her Instagram, it's very fresh, it's
Right.
very new, it's very up to date. You know what I'm
I
saying? And
agree.
it's not to offend anyone. And she's a black woman at that. She just knows it. But it's just like, yo, people need to get up on it.
Right.
Seriously, they need to.
And that happens from behind the scenes before it could happen, like you said, before it could happen in the front. It's just like the people making decisions they got to shake the table, shake the room.
Right. Shake the room.
Right. Oh, so right, you are a gem. I am so happy you came on the show today and we made this happen. Please let our listeners know how we can support you. What is your Instagram? Like, tell us how to connect with you.
You guys could support me on my Instagram. My Instagram is Raisa Flowers. It's Raisa Flowers with a S at the end. And yeah, you could just hit me up on there. I don't really have a website right now. I'll be working on that. That's another thing. But I'm here. I'm always around. And yeah, just hit me up on Instagram. I'm here, and check out my work.
Thank you so much, Rai. So we'll see you guys in the next episode and definitely stay tuned because Raisa will definitely be back. Like, this was amazing. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.